She collapsed just beyond the creek bed, dust caked to her cheeks, silk shoes torn to threads. Once she'd ridden in carriages, counted coins for her father's ledgers, learned which fork to lift first. Now her stomach twisted with hunger, and the West pressed its boot against her ribs. She dragged herself upright when she heard hooves. The cowboy slowed, eyes narrowing, hand drifting toward his rifle, not in threat, but habit. He saw her bones through the torn dress, the raw blistered feet, the way pride still held her chin high. "Ma'am," he said softly, "you don't look like you belong to this stretch of hell." She tried to answer, but only dust came. He dismounted, offered water without questions. She drank like a child learning trust again. He gave her half his jerky, watched to make sure she didn't choke. When she finally spoke, it was a whisper, "I ran." He nodded, as if running was something holy. "Then you're brave," he said. "And brave folks don't die alone out here." He lifted her onto his saddle like she weighed nothing, and for the first time in days, she felt safe enough to close her eyes. She woke by firelight, wrapped in a blanket that smelled of smoke and leather. The pain in her body felt quieter, like it had been told to behave. He brewed coffee in a battered tin, handed her a cup. She flinched at the heat. "Careful," he smiled, not unkind. The kindness startled her more than the wilderness ever had. She told him her name, then the truth, about the banker's house, the locked doors, the marriage contract waiting like a coffin. How she'd run before they could trade her future for status. Her voice shook but she didn't cry. "I wasn't made to be a possession," she said. He listened without interrupting, eyes on the flames. "My pa sold himself to whiskey," he finally said. "Different chains, same weight." Silence settled, but it wasn't empty. "You don't owe me anything," he added. "But if you want to keep going west, I'll ride with you till you're strong." She studied him, saw no hunger, no schemes, just steadiness. For the first time, she believed her escape might mean something. Bandits found them at dawn. 3 shapes on a ridge, rifles glinting like bad ideas. "They've been watching," he muttered. He pushed her behind a rock, pressed his hat into her hands. "Stay low." Fear tried to freeze her, but she saw him stand anyway, tall as a post driven into the earth. Shots cracked, dust leapt. He moved fast, smart, like a man who'd learned every trick from surviving. When one rushed, he tackled him into the brush. She grabbed the fallen rifle without thinking, heart pounding louder than thunder. She fired once, wild, but enough to scare the last man into retreat. When it was over, he came back breathing hard, a scrape on his cheek. "You okay?" he asked first. She laughed, a broken sound, but real. "I think I am." He looked at her like she'd just climbed a mountain. "You're tougher than you think." In that moment, she wasn't a banker's daughter or a runaway, she was a survivor who'd fought for herself. Weeks passed. She learned to ride, to cook over coals, to trust the quiet. He taught her the names of stars, how to read storms, how to hear danger before it spoke. She taught him letters he never learned, traced words in dirt until he could write his own name. One evening, they reached a valley painted green, a river shining like a promise. "This is where I stop," he said. "Ranch needs mending." Her chest tightened. "I don't want to be a burden," she whispered. He shook his head. "You're not." They stood there, wind tugging at her hair. "I was empty when you found me," she said. "You didn't just save my body." He met her eyes, voice low. "You saved your own soul. I just rode along." She realized then she didn't need to run anymore. She chose to stay, not because she had nowhere else to go, but because she finally knew who she was. And the West didn't own her. She owned herself.